I don't wanna lose you, and there's nothing else now. Why, hello there, everyone. It's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up? Home skillet biscuit, and I have the biggest booger in my eye. And happy Saturday. If you don't know what Saturday is when I do a little something on this here channel called Bad Movies and a Beat, the series on my channel where I talk about bad movies while putting my makeup on. And I just had the exceeding realization of just how ashy my hands truly are. Like I stretched out my fingers and you could hear paper crackling. Yes. So let me start off with this video by saying that I had no plans on making this video. Because I had no plans on watching this movie, and I had no plans on doing a video of it because of that. I had no interest. But here comes Amazon. Kendall, would you like to live tweet for a bag?
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check. I was an employee.
Absolutely. That is, of course, Amazon's very widely pushed movie, Cinderella, with Camilla Cantaloupe. And here we are, and I'm talking about the movie, but Amazon has no idea I'm making this. So, theoretically, I can expound a bit more on my thoughts. But before we do that, speaking of sponsors, we gotta pay today's bills. Take it away, ad roll Kenny. Why, hello there, ad roll Kenny, to let you know that today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit delivery service that allows you to have delicious, balanced, and fresh meals delivered right to your doorstep. With a seemingly endless amount of recipes to choose from, you're sure to find something that fits your tastes as well as your dietary restrictions. HelloFresh takes the stress out of meal prep because it gives you all the ingredients you need perfectly portioned out so that you can limit prep time and have dinner on the table in about 30 minutes. Sometimes less than that. It allows you to cut down on waste, get out of those recipe ruts, as well as introduce yourself into new flavors. And to be very honest with you, HelloFresh has just made me a better cook in general. Even when I'm not using HelloFresh, I'm like, oh, I know to put a little citrus, a little bit of herbs, a little bit, love it. This week, I thought we would finally get a miss from HelloFresh. I really thought, I was like, I don't know. It was pork meatloaf and spaghetti. And I don't like ground pork, and I don't like spaghetti. Why were they both so good? The pasta tasted like a hug.
That tastes like a hug.
I was like, okay, is it that I don't like ground pork? Or is it that I don't like people who can't cook? Do I not like spaghetti, or I just don't like people that can't cook? I was really having an out-of-body experience. It was delicious. And feel free to customize every week, add extra proteins, add their garlic bread, add their lava cake. And also know that you're helping HelloFresh reach their charity goals as well whenever you subscribe. In 2020, they donated 4 million meals to charity amid the coronavirus pandemic. And they're also stepping up their charity donations this year as well. So feel free to go to HelloFresh.com and use code Kennie14 to get 14 free meals plus free shipping. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video, and let's get on to the debauchery. Last week we talked about that incredibly annoying ass movie Gabriel's Inferno 2. Just an hour and 45-minute walk to nowhere. And if you would like to check that out, feel free to check it out up above, or you can check it out in the Bad Movies and a Beat playlist. Okay, so today, Cinderella. I, again, had no plans on making a video about this because I had no plans on watching the movie, because it just looked like all the things I'm not interested in. I don't care about another rendition of Cinderella because, you know, Brandy Cinderella happened. I can die. I can die happy now. I assumed to some degree it would be a musical, and I don't want to say I don't like musicals, because the more I think about that, the more that's not necessarily true. I just don't like most musicals. The only one I like is Sweeney Todd and any like 2D animated Disney film of the late 80s into the 90s. Some of the early 2000s, but mostly the 90s. So when I saw Amazon's particularly fervent desire to push this new Cinderella, again starring Camilla Kuwabara, I said, you know, I'm good. But again, I got suckered into watching it for a bag, so here we are. I might as well talk about it. When everyone was asking me to watch this movie, I did get the feeling that we were walking into a very like He's All That Addison Rae type situation. If you recall my video from a few weeks ago, I talked about it, and I felt like a lot of people felt very powerfully because they felt one way or another about Addison Rae. I feel like a lot of people feel one way or another about Camilla Chamomile Tea. Now, Camilla Castaway is someone that I'm not particularly familiar with. much like Addison Rae. Apparently she's very polarizing. She was in that group that Normani escaped from, and she did that one song that went ooh na 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 na, and it was very annoying and I got very sick of it. So again, like I said in the He's All That video, I'm probably the most neutral party to go into it because I don't know nor do I care much about her. So that means I can go in there without being like, oh my god, she's doing such an amazing job, I love you, queen. To like, oh my god, everything you do is trash, and everything you touch is trash, and everything you trash. I'm not impassioned enough to feel one way or another about her. And so again, with that viewpoint, I gotta say, the movie's cute. Depending on what you're looking for out of a movie like this, you may or may not enjoy. It's a very, if this is what you wanted, you'll be happy, and if it's not what you wanted, you won't be. Like, for all intents and purposes, it's a kid's movie. So I feel like it's not fair to expect it to be at the same, like, quality to be enjoyed by adults, even though that's largely those who seem to have very big and polarized opinions on it. We're in our 20s, hun. Why are we that impassioned about this movie? But if you are just watching it because you like whatever age you just like musicals, I don't even think it's not that great of a musical either, but this is coming from someone who doesn't like musicals. It's a covers musical, which I don't like that. It feels very Glee. If I'm not mistaken, could be wrong, someone that had something to do with Glee is involved in the making of this film. And if it's not someone from Glee, they did a great job mimicking anything Glee related. Now, I don't know if it was just because I didn't really know what I was going into, but this movie certainly wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Which is weird that I didn't know what I was getting myself into, as hard as Amazon has been pushing this movie. I had no idea that it was going to be like Glee girl boss Cinderella, and that's ultimately what it is. It's like if Cinderella joined an MLM. Once I did accept that, there were parts that I genuinely did enjoy. And they were all Billy Porter and the lady that sings Let It Go. And what is it? Idina Menzel? One thing that they decided to do in this movie that I find interesting, I don't know how well they executed it, but they tried to decentralize Cinderella a little bit, and giving a little bit more depth to the kingdom itself and not just Cinderella, which I thought was kind of cool. They made the stepmother into a bit more of a sympathetic figure, made her into a realist. That was nice. I did kind of enjoy that. But for me watching, it did at moments feel like they were just kind of running off like a woke checklist. But before I get too ahead of myself, this is Amazon Prime's original adaptation, Cinderella 2021. Now, again, I wasn't aware that this movie was going to be mostly covers. So when it began with Rhythm Nation, like Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation, I was very confused. I was like, wait, what, huh? Now, like I said, most of the movie is covers. Almost all, I would say a good 90% of the movie is covers, honestly. I was like, how much did they spend copyright-wise when they could have just wrote some songs? Because it leads into a Rhythm Nation, You Gotta Be mashup, and the whole movie ended up just feeling like a long advertisement to like a turn of the century, that's what I call music compilation. We meet evil stepmommy, yes, cheekbones, who is, again, Idina Menzel. Again, her and Porter are the only worthy viewing experience for me. Essentially tells Cinderella that she must be betrothed to this random creepy man that comes to their door one day. But the entire point of the movie is that Cinderella doesn't want to be married off. She wants to own a dress shop. She has dreams, aspirations, and ambitions. And I sat there the whole time thinking, por que lo nos dos? Marry a rich man who will buy you a dress shop. Think bigger. Think wiser, stronger, whatever the song said. Speaking of not going with your parents' aspirations, there is the prince, who for all intents and purposes has no desire to inherit the kingdom. He also has no desire to be wed to any of the women that his parents, particularly his father, is trying to force onto him. King Daddy, who is 007, he's so fine. Oh my god. 007 Daddy. Yes, King Daddy. King Daddy's like, why don't you have a wife yet? You're my idiot son. Do you know how embarrassing it is that you haven't been betrothed yet. No one respects you. No one respects the kingdom because of you. And apparently it is among the people that the prince is irresponsible and not really ready to be up to the task, that he's childish, and everyone just kind of believes it to be so. In this version of Cinderella, there is a princess, so the prince has a sister, who is an enthusiastic environmentalist, and she has a fervent desire to make a positive change in the kingdom for the people. However, because she's a girl, she's kind of pushed to the wayside, and everyone is just like, we have rules, you're a girl, shut up, don't be in here, even though you know how to change the whole kingdom over wind power. Now, the prince's whole thing is that he's just not in love with any of the women that his father keeps trying to force him to marry. So instead, they decide to have a ball in order to find him someone to love, and that's when they bring in the queen governor. While announcing the ball, Cinderella, who's too short to view any of the people talking, climbs the deceased king's statue and draws a bunch of attention to herself. And because this moment was so impactful of her character, her wit, her beauty, the prince is automatically smitten with her. In fairness, I can't call this any more stupid than actual fairy tales and how people fall in love, so there you go. So now the ball that was just to find someone to love has turned into the ball to specifically find Cinderella, whom he doesn't know her name or where she's from. So in order to do that, he convinces his father to allow him to marry even someone of the peasantry. Now, there is some structure that's true to the original Cinderella story, so I'm not gonna sit here and like go through the whole thing, but instead I'll just give you the things that are more fundamentally different. Again, evil stepmommy has essentially already betrothed her off to another man, and the idea of her going to the ball could ruin that engagement and ruin their security. So yeah, she sings Material Girl better than Madonna ever did. The prince goes into town searching presumably for Cinderella. For some reason nobody recognizes him because he has a headband on. It's like Superman. While there, he sees Cinderella trying to sell her dress, and no one believes she actually made it. They think she stole it from maybe a richer noblewoman that she works for, but he offers to buy her dress and pay her like multiples of what she was charging for it. While he's unrecognizable, she mocks the concept of the ball that's going to be taking place, says that it's kind of pathetic that he has to do that, the prince. So while she's talking to the prince, she's basically insulting him. But they go on their separate ways, and he's just so excited to see her at the ball. Speaking of which, fast forward to the ball. Evil stepmother is like, you can't come, you're betrothed to the creepy guy from the beginning of the movie. Basically, if she goes to the ball, that could jeopardize that engagement, and they may leave with nothing and no financial security. So you're staying home, you're engaged. She throws ink on her dress, and Cinderella's devastated because she wanted to go to the ball, not to meet the prince, but to get some networking done for her dress shop that she wants to make. Because she can't go to the ball, she's just crushed. But you know Cinderella, the story, fairy godmother, now fabulous godmother. Billy Porter came in, stole the show in the movie. I don't really think we need to have any more of it, to be quite frank with you. Necklace, the pants. You know Cinderella, gives her the dress, gives her the timeline, turns the rats into people, makes it so no one recognizes her. You got the spiel. They sing, and I was very annoyed because she was singing with him, and I get why thematically, but just shut up. I don't like her voice. Have I said that? I'm not a fan of her voice, and that might just be a me thing, and that really takes down my ability to enjoy anything that she's in, like any scene that she's in. Other people will be singing, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, I like it, whatever. And then she has to back up with her stiff jaw ad-libs, and I'm just so annoyed. Anyway, dress, slippers, mice, you got it. She goes to the ball. At the ball, everyone's trying to get the prince's attention, because of course they are. That's what they got there for, and I gotta say, the dark-skinned lady on the far right and the Indian question mark woman, I don't know, but both of y'all were killing it. Everybody else goes home. Cinderella don't need to come. Her dress was nothing compared to these two. But girl, they sing What a Man, by the way. God, how corny. I'm sorry. While there, Cinderella meets a queen, Queen Tatiana, also gorgeous. Everybody else well, she's already married. But if she was up, everybody else go home. Serving down. She is overwhelming you hoes. Anyway, she's like, hi, your dress is gorgeous. Oh, I made it. Really? I'd love for you to design dresses for me. Meet me tomorrow at 4 o'clock and don't be late. I am a queen after all. I have to do. Cinderella, overwhelmed and excited by the prospects of getting someone to invest in her dream, is super glad that she came to this event. Now the prince finds her, and I guess the magic allows it so that he alone recognizes her, I guess. I don't recall whether or not they clarified that, but he recognizes her. They talk, they sing. I start to lose a bit of my resolve because, again, it's just song after song after song, and it's a little overwhelming. The prince admits to her that he doesn't really want to be the king. He doesn't feel like it's what is his destined path, is what his family has planned for him. He wants to marry her. But for some reason, she can't make dresses and marry him too. I guess, you know, nothing that anyone did in the olden times made sense anyway. He's like, yeah, you'd kind of have to give up that dream if you were to marry me or whatever. And she's like, no. If it's a man, be that one. And I'm like, yes, okay, bitch, we get it. You will be that one. You gotta know my name. You're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my name. She solemnly turns him down and nearly kisses him at midnight. But, of course, at the strike of midnight, everything goes back. So she's trying to run away. On the way out, we have something that has been largely criticized. A particular scene, which I will say I didn't mind it. I thought it was funny. But basically on the way back, James Gordon Rat. I'll just let it play. Look, is it nightmare fuel? Yes. Did I find it funny? Also, yes. The next day, stepmother apologizes for not allowing her to go to the ball. Basically, she's like, she's sorry that she has to give up her dreams. She also had dreams at one time. She wanted to be a piano player, but she had to give it up for financial security, and we kind of get why she's the way that she is. And I get it, especially if this is supposed to be in ye olden time. You trying to open up a store instead of getting married could make all of us die of hunger. I forgot to mention, on the way out from the ball, Cinderella threw her shoe at one of the guardsmen, which I appreciated they did it in that way as opposed to it just slipping off her feet, because that never made sense to me. If it's the perfectly fitting shoe of a person, why would it just slip off in the middle of you running? Also, the whole going from door to door to see if the shoe fits on another woman in the town, I'm like, yes, she's the only person that wears a size 8.5. They made it so that Cinderella just launched it at somebody while trying to escape, and that makes more sense. And now we're trying to find the matching shoe. Stepmother sees that she has the other shoe and recognizes, oh my god, it was you. You're who he wants. Please marry the prince. Please do this. And she's like, no, I want my dress shop. And she's like, bitch, marry the prince. But apparently he's already engaged to somebody else. Okay, then fine, you're gonna marry that creepy dude from the beginning of the movie like we planned before. We're gonna drive you over to him. Stepmother starts to sing a little pop rock moment. I was into it. And apparently it's the song of all of the women in the kingdom. And I get this is supposed to be like, oh, the working class women are all like commiserating, but there's a scene where like a bunch of milkmaids are just rocking out. That was so funny to me. That shit took me out. The song ends in a flourish as the stepmom plays a piano solo full of disdain and unfulfilled dreams. Now, towards the third or fourth quarter of this movie, they had a subplot about how the king and queen are going through marriage trouble because he doesn't behave like he loves her anymore. You're telling our son to be with someone he doesn't love, as if you don't love me, as if you just did it to raise to power, which is probably true. And he's like, no, it's not true at all. And then allows the son to not get married if he doesn't want to, and to go out and look for Cinderella, because that is who his one true love is, and not get married to somebody else just to raise up through the ranks. But in the meantime, Cinderella is off to be betrothed with the creepy dude from the beginning of the movie. But she decides to escape with the help of the mice, of course. I thought the mice bit was cute. I think the mice are cute. That's another thing I like about the movie. The mice are cute. And she's off to escape to see Queen Tatiana for her dress apprenticeship thing. She sings that damn, if it's a man, you're too one, I'm gonna be that one. And she runs into the prince. They make up. He said he doesn't want to be king. He wants to be with her. They kiss. And she's like, yo, I gotta go. It's an old girl's thing that we were talking about before. What have we become that our fairy tale princesses aspire to work Ugh. They decide to make the princess the next up for the throne. And she's super excited because she has her liberal agenda. The prince and Cinderella don't want to put a label on things, which I thought was so befitting, I guess, for the rest of this movie full of woke cliches. But they travel the world together. He makes dresses. They sing Let's Get Loud as the closing number, and you're just like, when will it end? Her and stepmother make up, which leads to a duet that just pissed me off because I was like, stop singing over Adina. Okay, so closing thoughts. The movie is a movie. It has cute parts, so many cringy parts. I like Adina, I like Billy Porter, even though he wasn't in it for very long. I like the rats when they're in rat form, not when they're as people. If you like musicals that are mostly covers, if you like Glee, if you like Camilla, you'll probably like this movie. If you dislike any of those things, you won't. As for me, I was like, okay, I watched it, and I feel the same. It's like, oh, okay, I wouldn't have liked this anyway, because I don't like musicals, and I don't feel one way or another about Camilla. C-. I can't really grade it because I don't like any of the fundamentals of this movie. It doesn't matter if it was Camilla or anyone else. I probably would have just still been like, yeah, this isn't a movie I would have even watched again. And then without any of the incentives of liking musicals, loving Cinderella, loving covers, loving Glee, loving Camilla, or not even loving Camilla, having a strong opinion on Camilla. If you don't feel tethered to any of those, then this movie is quite a waste of time. But if you do like those things, you may unironically truly enjoy it, even just to hate Camilla. But for me, it was just like, oh, okay. Again, I wouldn't have watched this if it weren't for a chick. And since I already had to watch it and it wasn't great, you know, here's a video for you. One thing about me, I will squeeze a check out of any bad movie watching experience, that I tell you. And this one gave me 2, so hey. I also don't even think it's good enough to hate watch, bad enough even to hate watch. It's just like, it was a viewing experience. Okay. That's my Kendall's review of the movie. It was one. There you go. So if you like this video, feel free to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram, Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. I will see you guys in the next one.